Meanwhile, President Obama wasting no time letting Americans know his next steps for the vacant Supreme Court seat after the passing this weekend of Justice Scalia.
I plan to fulfill my constitutional responsibilities to nominate a successor in due time. There will be plenty of time for me to do so and for the Senate to fulfill its responsibility to give that person a fair hearing and a timely vote.
But former Florida Governor Jeb Bush says that the Senate should reject President Obama's Supreme Court nominee, and he joins us now from Miami. Good morning to you, Governor.
Good morning.
Okay, so there is a vacancy, but a number of Republicans are saying, let the next president pick the next seat on the Supreme Court. Do you agree with that?
Whatever the Senate decides in terms of their procedures is fine with me. I just think that the nominee of the president should be rejected. And yeah, I think this should be a legitimate issue for November. A lot riding on this. Religious freedom, for example, and the Second Amendment. If you shift the court's philosophy to the left, you're going to have a devastating impact on the liberties that Anton Scalia believed in. So I think this should be a legitimate question in the November election, and I would run to make sure that we protect our freedoms, that we protect the Bill of Rights, that we protect a business climate that allows us to rise up again, to create jobs again, for rising income again. All of this is at stake, and so this is a legitimate issue for November, and that's the place where it ought to be litigated.
And how do you fend off criticism from liberals who say that the president still has almost a year left in office? We have New York Senator Chuck Schumer saying that liberals would never do this. They would never filibuster. Yet in 2007, we rolled the tape of him trying to do the very same thing under your brother's leadership. What do you think about that?
Exactly. Well, I saw that and I laughed because it was very Schumer-esque, I guess. The simple fact is that people change their views based on their political realities. This is a legitimate question for the November election. The president has a right to submit a nominee for sure. That's his prerogative in the Constitution. But the Senate has every right to reject it or to not hear it.
Governor, I know we talked on the radio about this a little bit, but it's going to be historic when you and your older brother go on to the stump today in South Carolina and begin to talk to them about why you should be President of the United States. That'll be historic. But after Saturday night, I think there's a lot of people waiting to see if your brother is going to defend his record, that he didn't lie about weapons of mass destruction, that the Iraq war wasn't a mistake, that he did not crash the economy, or does he want to put his point of view on there, being that 13.5 million saw that debate and many more saw the clips? What do you think?
I think he's going to be there to show his support for me and why, going forward, I would be the best commander-in-chief, that I have a proven record and a steady hand. That's what I think he's going to talk about. He's not going to get back in the past. He's proud of what he did, and he served with honor. He served with distinction. Donald Trump criticizing my brother, castigating him, pushing him down, isn't going to change anything. In fact, the only person he praised in that debate was Vladimir Putin. He attacked my brother and praises Putin. I don't know if that's going to work in an election, certainly not in South Carolina.
So, Governor, what you're saying, I think, is that your brother, who has, for the most part, stayed out of politics, being critical over the last 7 years, going to take the high road down in South Carolina, not going to attack Donald Trump?
Of course. No, that's not his job. He's paid his dues. He doesn't have to get into the slop with Donald Trump. My job, though, by the way, is to point out when...
But didn't he bring him in, Governor? Didn't he bring Bush 43 into it last night? And doesn't he feel compelled to defend it?
I'll take care of that. That's my point. My point is that's my job. Donald Trump is trying to hijack the Republican Party. He's not a conservative. He's not a serious guy. He was unhinged in this debate. He's foul-mouthed. He's not the kind of person that will lead us to victory in November. A lot is riding on this, not just the presidency, but now we see the judiciary as well. We need someone who has a steady hand, who is a solid conservative, someone who can take our conservative views and go on the attack in the general election. And Mr. Trump last night made it clear, or Saturday night made it pretty clear that he's not that guy.
Well, and you say it was an unhinged moment from him, which would suggest that it wasn't something that was thought out, but he doubled down on it on one of the Sunday shows yesterday. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. He wants to relitigate the past, changing history as it goes along. I'm about the future. We have dangers in this country, facing this country, that are serious, both economic and national security questions. And Trump wants to go back in the past. Fine. People are concerned about losing jobs. They're concerned about attacks of terror. And his views are not the right views to lead us forward.
Well, we know you've got a busy day. You're going to join your brother out on the stump. And by the way, we should also point out that tonight Sean Hannity is going to have a brother-to-brother interview. He's got Jeb and George on his program tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Governor, thank you very much for joining us from Miami. Good luck to you.
Thanks, guys.